Hey, what's this like? What's your off season been like as you all get ready to return here to camp and so forth?
It's just an exciting moment. I think it's one of the best days of the year to get back in at camp, and you do all that preparation from the end of last season to now, and the moment's kind of here now to put that all to work. So really looking forward to it, and it's one of the best days.
And then I guess your union side, a lot of talk about 18 games. Where do you feel that's at, and if that negotiation is going to come to fruition?
I'm not sure. I don't think there's any negotiations right now, but all the PA stuff, I'll let them do that. And Lloyd's fantastic in everything he has, and so that's all I have for now.
I mean, y'all play 20. Well, you may not play the 3.
Yeah.
But as the platform's there, that maybe you can see the footprint where, you went from 16, 17 a couple years back. Progression seems like it's in the works.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Lloyd and EC do a great job negotiating on our behalf. I'm not aware of anything right now, but I think that's why, a players union and the 32 guys, we had so much trust in Lloyd to represent us, and I'll let him speak on all of that stuff.
Chris, you've done this thing a time or two, so what are you looking forward to the most with this camp in particular?
I think, one, it's just exciting to see everybody come back, and then just now with Raheem ready to go, and super fortunate again that we have all of our guys in our room, and I think that's a unique thing. The culture here is really fantastic, and that's one of the best parts. There's so many people pulling in the same direction. There's energy in the building. I don't know if you guys feel it as well. I mean, it's the first day. We're 2 hours into it, but it's an exciting time, and I think that's the part I'm looking forward to most. And I know there's expectations. That's the best thing. You play this game to win, and really looking forward to it.
Chris, how would you say this training camp feels a little bit different? Because obviously, going into training camp, usually it's very optimistic. Everyone's really excited, but you have 3 straight 7 and 10 seasons. Everyone usually feels the same way at the beginning. How does this one maybe feel different than the last 3?
I think just as a competitor, you have to have that mindset that this is the year you're going to win, and every single day the preparation and work going towards it. I don't necessarily know right now the difference, but I think the work that we put in OTAs was incredibly detailed, and the chemistry that we're building with Kirk is fantastic. I only speak because the offense and offensive line is like my personal viewpoint. Guys are just putting in the work and ready to go, and I think there's real focus on what we're doing, and looking forward to the opportunity to go out and start really now that the physicality aspect of it is about to start.
Hey Chris, it's really good to see you again. For you personally, your personal goals for big picture for training camp, compared from OTAs to training camp now, what's your personal goals?
Personal goals for training camp is definitely to develop all the tools that work in this off season, and then focus into applying it into live situations. And so the physicality is the biggest thing, the step up from OTAs. I think you work like your sets and stuff like that, but now being able to apply it, and then learning those different lessons. And I don't think there's a better tool than getting to work against Grady and David and those guys every single day. And so there's different things that they'll help, even if they know they're helping or not. There's so many things I get to learn from them of what they do. And so I think right now it's a technical aspect, eliminate mental mistakes. That's a huge part right now, and kind of really get the chemistry going between Drew and Caleb and those guys, and really kind of dialed into exactly what we want to do, because we do it, but now the physicality aspect, so it's 100% live. So
you said OTAs were incredibly detailed. Is it easy to pick up from where y'all left off, or is there going to be like an adjustment period still?
I think there's always an adjustment period when you're working with people, but I think it's like both. Like, I hate to answer it that way, but it's like there's always an adjustment. I think, you can talk to guys. Sometimes you feel as like Bambi out there the first day, where it's like you really don't have your legs under you. No matter how much training you do, there's no simulation to it. But the mental side, Zach and everybody and Led did such a great job installing everything. that I think the mental side is going to be really easy to pick up. And then the physical, it always just takes a couple days to kind of get that kind of all steamed out.
How long will it take the unit to form a new personality or different personality with different coaches, but mostly some of the main piece, but a lot of the other old pieces?
Yeah, I think it's just through reps, and then your identity is what you put on film, and I think that's the biggest aspect of it. And so as a group, we know like the standards we set for ourselves, and so we have to go out there and prove it. It's simple. You want to always keep Kurt upright and make sure he has time to throw, and then the ability for those guys to make plays. And then, in the run game, it's the same thing for Bijan and Tyler and those guys. Make them be able to make their plays, and that's one of the most rewarding things as an offensive line. But kind of your identity is what you put on film. So excited for those opportunities.
What has the process been like so far, marrying the run game that Dwayne brings from the last, from the way he thinks about it, and Zach and the new staff, and sort of putting them together?
There's great cohesion right now, and I think that's one of the best things that the staff has really done is married those things, and then also the way that it's taught to us. It's so easy to pick up on the scheme and stuff. I know when you have a staff change, there's a lot of learning, and there can be language differences and everything, and so I don't feel like I've taken. I'm speaking for myself, but I feel like I could speak for the room too, where I don't think we've taken a step back on the mental side. Like, I don't feel any further behind than we would have been, so I just feel like the transition mentally, we're as sharp as we can be.
Does the run game concepts feel similar, or does it feel like a diversion from what you've been doing the last 3 years? There's always differences, and there's different nuance differences, but the kind of identity aspect hasn't changed. In that part, the core of it really hasn't changed, but there's always different nuances and different changes, and there is some new things. But I think as a group, anytime Coach Ledford, you guys interview him, it's speed off the ball, toughness finish, and so that's never going to change. I imagine there's a balance between doing one or two things really, really well, and having enough variety to keep people off guard. Where do you fall in terms of what's more important, mastering the base stuff or having a wide menu?
That's all for Zach and Coach Ledford. My thing is whatever's called, making sure that I have my technique, assignment, and everything dialed in with it, and be the best that I can be for it. And so I think really focused on the individual aspect of how I can be the best right guard for him, and that's just, whatever is called, just having the technique of it.
I want to say this is year 4 for you working with Ledford.
Mm-hmm.
As far as his energy, his approach, what is he like with you all?
He's the same person every day. He's, if he walks into a room, he feels like he's going to kick the door down when he enters. There's great personal connection, and that he's pushing the best for you. He wants the best for you and the best thing for the unit every day. And that's one of the best things. You have him in your corner, and then the same way that he's able to tell you, if something's not right, you're not playing well, he's able to give you, the feedback that you need to hear, and it's coming from a place of love and stuff like that. And so it makes the hard conversations easier, and it makes you more receptive to it. But then in the same sense, his energy every single day is just, you can't come in feeling bad because, he's just not going to let you. The energy is just so high.
You mentioned that the physical would be like the biggest, hump to get over. Through your off seasons, is there something that you've learned, some drill or just certain workout that helps you get back to that?
I think,
especially in the dead period.
I think it's working with intent is the biggest thing. So mentally preparing for, there's a difference between hitting a bag and just getting through a drill and then doing it and focusing on, okay, exactly, this is what I want to do. And hand placement is a big one where it's just like, okay, if you hit a bag and your hand slips off, like, it's whatever. But if you really focus through hitting it, I felt that makes like the transition easier when you go to, because those small mistakes kind of get amplified. So you really want to eliminate those. And so I think working with intent in the off season of every single drill that you do, know the reason why you're doing it, and then like how does that translate to the field. And so when you have that correlation, it makes the transition easier.
What's one thing you can't leave home without when it comes to training training camp?
Pillow quality, because sleeping is so important. So that's it. That's the big one, like that. And as long as the room temperature is like 68, I'm good.
Do you have a roommate, or have you kind of back here?
We're super lucky. Mr. Blank and the dorms are fantastic. So like you have roommates, but you have your own individual room. So, yeah.
Does the AC, is that with all the rooms that are in the suite?
Oh yeah. We have it, especially the O-line. I don't know about other positions. The O-line keeps it cool.
What is today like for you? Because you're going into something that's going to be very grueling. Like a training camp, it's not necessarily like the most fun thing in the world, although I'm sure you guys like getting out on the field. Is there kind of like a mixture of feelings towards like excitement to get out there versus kind of like, I don't want to dread maybe over the top, but just that sense of like, you're going into something really tough physically?
Yeah, I think definitely what you said of like, there's excitement for the season, but it's going to be hard. But I think loving the game, loving the team, the people with you every day kind of makes you excited for it. And then just the being out in practice, working on the fundamentals and stuff is something I really enjoy. So like there's that aspect of it. And I think the hard part is, you're away from your family, you're working long hours. Like that's the hard part. And I think the older you get, the transition becomes easier and easier because you're used to the workload. Like it's not, if you didn't know what the workload capacity was, like I bet you guys feel the same way as reporters. Like the first time you do it, you're like, wow, the season's really long. And then as it gets older and older, like, I don't know, it becomes easier. But I think there's excitement, but I think you understand the responsibility of like, or the commitment that's about to kind of begin.
Apparently Kirk is a playbook dude where he draws out all the plays. Do you have a note-taking philosophy? Are you a paper and pen guy? Are you an iPad guy? How do you do it?
Paper and pen. That's the way I do it, and it's kind of evolved. I've been really lucky to have really good role models, and those guys have had different philosophies, and guys have been successful taking notes. But I try and write everything down in all the different meetings, and then I've been doing the system for like 3 years, where I kind of set up how I want the notebook to actually look. My handwriting's terrible, but I think it's more the process of it. But I kind of have it all where I sectioned it out, where I really know what I'm looking at, go through it and do it. Everybody has their own process, but I kind of have it. But I'm all paper and pen. The iPad, it's nice. I like looking at it and then translating it by hand. I don't know, whatever it is. It just, whatever the stimulation, there's all that science behind it. But
have you seen Kirk's doodles? Apparently they're pretty intricate.
I haven't seen it. I know he's super into note-taking, though. You can see him hammering away at the iPad in meetings. But I haven't seen it. I know each guy has a different process because there's so many, every person's role, even, Drew and I have two totally different, I guess, set of responsibilities. But, yeah, I finally hammered out that process.
Anything else? I got one quick question just as a dad. I've got a 12-year-old 7th grader strapping on his helmet this week, getting ready to start football in a similar way as you. As you look back, if you were to talk to your 12-year-old self, there's this big push for specialization. Kids are getting specialized training at a super young age now. I'm curious if you think specialized training is super valuable, or if you played multiple sports growing up as a kid, and if you have any thoughts on how sport has evolved.
Yeah, I think I have a huge proponent of playing other sports, and I know some sports are different. I know, you can't go into gymnastics at 18 years old, but very fortunate that football is something. I mean, you can see how many success stories in the NFL are people picking it up at 16, 17 years old, or guys who were in the NBA, or college basketball players that figured it out. And so that's really fortunate. Of football is one of those things where, obviously there's the genetic aspect of it to play at the high level, but then a lot of it, determination, hard work, and the way you play can make up for a lot of it. And I think that's one of the sports. And I think cross-training is one of the biggest things. For me, I was a multi-sport athlete. Like, I didn't play football till 6th grade, so right around the same age. And, I played basketball, baseball, wrestling growing up. And then even through high school, played basketball, tennis, everything. And I feel, especially as offensive line, and there's so many different things, there's cross-training of your body mechanics, there's so many applicable skills. Like basketball, you're playing in a good position, you're moving your feet, you're not wasting motion. That translates exactly to playing offensive line. There's different technique differences, but all those motor skills are the same. So I couldn't be a bigger proponent of playing multiple sports, especially at a young age.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Hey, just how you doing?
Good.
Hey, Chris Lindstrom described this as one of the best days of the year. What's your take on important day, training camp?
Yeah, you know, you go through, you know, OTAs, and then you take a couple weeks away from everybody, and you start, you know, training and preparing yourself, trying to put in, you know, every day, try to do as much as you can, you know, for it to pay off during the season. But yeah, I mean, this day is, you know, everything is, you know, it's almost like a fresh start for you. And, you know, for me, I woke up this morning like it was almost a game day. Just the nerves and, you know, not just this is being my 7th year, 7th training camp, and it still feels like my first, just mentally, just the excitement that we have here. And, you know, every year, you know, some stuff changes, but one thing, you just never take this for granted, being able to walk into, you know, a building with great people and a great organization, you know, and it's just the start of, like I said, a new beginning, new opportunities this year. Just a very exciting time, not just for ourselves, but, you know, for our families and other people as well.
I was just going over the old interviews over the off season, and one thing jumped out. You said y'all wanted to be top 5 in every category. How do y'all get there?
Yeah, you know, that's through practice, through OTAs. That's kind of like where it starts. The foundation of, you know, who we want to be. Like I said, people change every year. There's new people that come in, new coaches that come in. But you want to set some type of foundation, some type of standard that you can, you know, whether things are going good, whether they're going bad, that you can kind of come back to. And I thought Rod did a really good job this OTAs of just, you know, starting that off and what our foundation is going to be. So yeah, now it's just continue to build on the trust that we started in OTAs, and you know, we'll be able to go against not just ourselves, but in 2 weeks we'll be going to Miami and, you know, playing against other people. And like I said, just continue to build that trust and that cohesiveness between each other, you know, through the players, through the coaches, through everybody in this building. We're going to be together, and it's time to lock in. So it's an exciting time.
How has your relationship with Kirk developed since he's gotten here?
Yeah, you know, anytime you know, I always watch Kirk, you know, even when he was at Michigan State, you know, more Midwest kind of watching. I wanted to go to maybe Indiana University, maybe some type of Big Ten school, but being able to get around him and see the person that he is, you know, I've watched film throughout OTAs where it's just me and Kirk in there, and we're just talking ball and, you know, what he sees, what I see. So that relationship is something that I'm very excited about to continue to grow, not just, you know, becoming great teammates, but just creating great relationships just like I have, you know, year in and year out. You know, Kirk is someone that, I mean, he's seen it all. I mean, he's a lot older. He might be a little older than me, but there's a lot of game that he can, you know, pass along, and he's willing to do that as well. So that's what's exciting about Kirk. And like I said, he's one of the top quarterbacks in this league, and it's not by mistake. It's just I watch how he works day in and day out, and yeah, that's just something that, you know, you just try to take bits and pieces of everybody's game, and Kirk is someone I'm gonna definitely be a great resource for me to use throughout this year for sure.
Is this the first time in your career you sat down one-on-one with your quarterback to watch film like that?
Yeah, honestly, you know, I'm trying to think with Joey B. You know, it was kind of like a, you know, he was a younger guy coming in. Yeah, different stages. You know, and I wasn't comfortable with myself. Like, hey, bro, let's go watch film together. It was more so like, you know, DBs versus everybody. And now it's, you know, you kind of broaden your vision a little bit and just get the get to see what Kirk is thinking and how he processes things, and I think that'll help not just myself, but our defense and other guys in our DB room as well.
Did you or Kirk initiate that? Do you remember? I mean, how did it happen? Did you just walk by the room and he's in there?
Yeah, we just always talk, on the field when we're out there during OTAs and be like, hey, Jess, that was a good break, or Kirk, that was a good look off. You looked me off here. And then it kind of just continued to develop that conversations, those relationships. And, we were able to, connect a couple of times. Like I said, like, hey, let's, Kirk is a guy that his routine is the same exact thing every single day. And it's easy for me to just be like, okay, I'll jump in there with you for, maybe 30 minutes before a meeting. And that time is, I think is very helpful for me, like I said. And I can also pass that along with, DeMarco or Richie or any of the other guys in our defense. So, Kirk's going to be not just huge, like I said, his value as a person, I think, for this team is going to be huge.
Jessie, there's a lot of changes this offseason, obviously, but how does this day in particular feel different than maybe what it felt like last year at this point, like just the first day of training camp?
Yeah, for me, last year it was a lot of, new things for me. I had my baby boy last year. I was moving to a whole new team. I didn't know what to expect. And this year is kind of completely different. I kind of been settled in. Life is a little bit more simple. Just becoming a better person every day. And then just you walk in this building and you see, the investments that Mr. Blank has put in this building. I was joking around with guys, like it almost felt like an official visit, walking through the locker room and walking through the weight room. That's what Atlanta should be known for, is world class everything that we're doing. It's just time to go put in the work now and and get this city where it needs to be.
And for those who might be unfamiliar with day one of training camp, like what is that routine like? Like what does this day look like for you?
Yeah, you got to make sure you get all your bags packed, make sure you get your favorite snacks, and, get all the Pedialytes and stuff like that loaded up in your dorms. Everybody's a little different as it comes to, first day, but it's really just assessments, checking in with trainers and making sure that, your body, you haven't had anything, anything throughout the off season change up. And then just, taking headshots, make sure you got a fresh cut and all that good stuff. And just get ready, get your mind ready, get all the stuff, all the logistics stuff out the way so we can just focus on football and, focus on connecting with each other as we stay in dorms together, and get this thing rolling.
Chris Lindstrom talked about how he feels like there's some expectations on this team, and that's a good thing because they play to win. How are you sort of viewing that as you go into training camp?
Yeah, every year, there's going to be expectations. It's something that this is part of what we do. There's going to be some pressure that's, added. Media is going to be like, oh, they drafted, so-and-so. There's going to be a bunch of questions, but none of that outside noise really matters. What really matters is what we set for our team, and throughout the season, like I said, there will be ups and downs. There will be articles that's maybe our offense isn't good enough, maybe our defense isn't good enough, but at the end of the day, all that matters is about what's in this building and how we respond to those. So, those expectations for, people have individual expectations, throughout training camp, but as we continue to, get closer to the season, I think that's when you really hone in on, what you want to be, who we want to be as a team. So I'm very excited to figure out what those expectations are, not from other people, from the outside noise, but for what's in this building and what we can do here.
Jessie, what have you learned throughout the years in each training camp that's helped you now to this point be super comfortable when it comes to the longevity and intensity of training camp?
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. Like I said, this is something that you don't take for granted, whether it's, year 1, year 7, it's a journey. And it's 90 people in this building right now. And, unfortunately we got to cut it down to 53 at some point. And my biggest thing I try to tell guys is, let's try to, for these 4 or 5 weeks, or however long we're in here before those cuts are, let's become the best team from the bottom to all the way to the top, and just become, getting better every single day, figuring out something to get better at every single day. Because, there's going to be days where it's long, and things can get repetitive a little bit, but I think that's where, our leaders got to step in. I've been part of really good teams, really bad teams as well, and, people that can, stay the course throughout those long weeks. And just like I said, understanding that, everyone's not going to be here, come to those final cuts, but as long as we can become better as a group right now, I think that'll help out people, not just here as they go along with their careers, and just taking it day by day, just learning from each other, and like I said, continue to be better people and better players as well.
You mentioned snacks. What are you packing for training camp, and what does your room look like for the next?
Yeah, there's a lot of fruit, granola bars and stuff. I feel like I said, Mr. Blank, I don't know if you guys seen this cafeteria. I don't think there's going to be anything that we're lacking as far as, snacks or anything. But for me, I make sure I got a bunch of Pedialyte in there, make sure I bring my recovery stuff, a roller, massage gun. I might bring a couple pillows, just simple stuff that, whatever makes people comfortable.
Thanks, guys.
We got one more.
Sorry, I have one more question. For you personally, what are your expectations for training camp now that it's started?
Yeah, like I said, every year that changes for people. And for me, where I'm at in my career, I need to make sure I'm a great leader. I've been reading a lot more than I ever have my whole life, on just leadership and just personal development, because I know that's my role. A couple years ago, I was kind of like the guy in the back, leading by example, but leadership is the biggest thing that I'm really worried about, and, leading the guys on and off the field, and I think the rest will fall in line, and we'll set more, season goals and stuff as we get along. But right now, like I said, focus on day one, get the best assessments and the best, physicals and stuff like that right now. And then day two, we'll worry about installs and stuff like that. So right now, it's just leadership for me is the biggest thing.
What's your favorite book so far?
So far, I would say Jerry, our coach, Jerry Gray, he gave us a book called The Twin of Thieves, talking about the two twin of thieves, which is, the fear of failing and the fear of judgment. And I think that's pretty big on, like I said, the season that I'm going into with, the role of leadership that I have to do. So just multiple books that, just got to continue to grow myself as a person, so I can pass it along with my family and my little man. So
when Raheem was hired, I want to say you said you reached out and kind of received some rave reviews about him. Having worked with him now for however many months, just kind of, what have been your initial impressions of just him and his just, approach to here?
Yeah, I just think Ra is super authentic. There's nothing that he's hiding about himself at all. I mean, you talk to guys all around the league, from players to coaches, and everybody speaks very highly of him. And like I said, we had our how long during OTAs together, and Ra lived up to it, as far as just the team meetings and the expectations and how he's leading a group of men. I think that's very important, and just excited to have him throughout a whole season, and see how we respond with him. And play for a guy like him is very unique, and I'm very excited for that, for sure.
What's it like taking on this leadership role so early in your tenure with this new team?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
What's it like taking on this leadership role when you've been with this team for going on year 2 now? Like, a lot of times that doesn't really happen too often in a new team. Like, what's it like with that just being put on you in year 2 now?
Yeah, that's I mean, that's just what happens. When you put yourself in a position, when they bring you into an organization, there's more than just going to play football. And being able to acknowledge that and embrace that for myself, just being a leader, and understanding what this team needs. Like I said, I've been the young guy, that needed a leader to pull me out of a slump or whatever that is. My experience in my 6 years, that's what I'll use to, navigate through leadership and also lean through other guys like Kirk and guys that's done it at a high level. So yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Hey, Kaden, how you doing today?
Fantastic. How are you today?
Doing great.
Good.
Hey, what's today been like reporting for training camp? Chris Lindstrom described it as the best day of the year.
Yeah, it's a little hectic. It's a little busy, and it's a good way to start off a busy time of life. So we're in here. We gotta check off stops at every location, and it's good though. You get to see everybody's face, say hi again, and get ready for what we're about to try to do.
And with the new regime coming in, are you excited about building on what you all started in the off season with the new regime? And I'm imagining some new things and so forth.
Yeah, 100%. Excited to see. Just continue to get to know them, continue to get to see what we're gonna do together, and see how we all finish meshing together. You start putting pads on, you start playing games, and everybody's true colors come out. So I'm really excited to just get with everybody, really see what we're going to be, what we're going to put on the field this year.
In fact, you spent your first 5 years in the league in basically the same defensive system, right? So this is your first real transition. What's that process been like, and how many similarities and differences are there?
It's a little different. Again, I've learned a new playbook since my rookie year in the NFL. There's been slight changes, but not a full changeover. So had to spend a little more time in the book and in front of the film room this off season, but that's just part of the job. And the goal is just by game one to feel just as comfortable in this as I felt my year 5 in the last defense. And so that's the goal. That's what I'm working towards.
Does your job change much from 3-4 to 4-3? Is what do your responsibilities change?
It kind of yes and no. I mean, I don't think my job's changing too much in the sense that I can do multiple things on the field at once or in one game plan. But at the end of the day, when you're a stack back linebacker, you still got the same keys. You're still doing the same thing. At the end of the day, just little changes. And when you're on the ball, you're still keying the end man on the line of scrimmage. So how they use me may change, and we'll go through camp and go out and see who makes plays, and I'll go where I fit best in this defense. But at the end of the day, stack back linebacker, I'll still be playing stack back, and on the ball linebacker, I'll still be doing the same things that I do there.
How's Troy looked in his return to health?
Great. I think he looks great. He looks like he could be in the movie 300. He's ready to roll. He's fast as ever. He's strong. He's powerful, and he's smart. So I'm excited for him and praying for a full season of health for him so we can go out there and do some special things.
Do you have a feeling for how that rotation may look with Troy and Nate alongside you at all?
I don't. At the end of the day, that's another thing where maybe I could predict that if I was in the previous defense I was in, but with Jimmy and these guys coming in with their new philosophy and thoughts on things, how they fit that all together, that's their decision. I know what we got to do is just go out, make plays, and I believe that they'll get whoever's making the most plays on the field, however they got to do it.
You guys are all obviously upper tier athletes, but Troy's numbers are kind of a step above everybody else. Do you see that on the field? I mean, do you feel like, wow, that guy's athletic, or is it just, wow, that guy's also athletic?
No, there's times where you're like, wow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's times where you see a burst and you're like, how do you catch that guy so fast? And it looks effortless. I think each guy, obviously in the NFL, whether you're a practice squad guy or the top tier, you got different traits that people can look at and say, that's why you're here. And Troy's blessed to have a few of those. So he's a great athlete. He's super smart, and I'm just excited to get out and make some plays and for him to stay healthy.
How much did Troy come to you for advice when rehabbing his injury? Because I know you had one, a major one, earlier in your career too.
You know, Troy and I spent some good time talking. How much he came for me for that particular injury, I'm not sure, but you know, he came for me general body questions, and tried to give him my best in all of it. You know, I'm no genius in any of that, but you know, you've been around the league for a little while. You see a couple things, and you see what, you know, not only you're doing that helps you stay successful, but what some people that have gone before you have done to stay successful. So you know, I've shared some things with him, and he's just you know, he's awesome. Again, I keep saying he's so smart, but I think a lot of it comes from because he asks a lot of questions. And he probably already is one of the smartest in the room, if not the, but he's still going to ask questions. And so it's an awesome trait that he has, and it's something that's serving him really well.
Is this training camp probably the most comfortable and confident you've felt, considering last year was a new team, the year before that you didn't know whether you were going to start until the injury happened?
I was talking, no, I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. It was funny, I was talking to Chris yesterday, and he was talking about, you know, going in year 6, this is honestly like, I'm not sure he used the word calm, but this is the best he's felt going into it. And I was like, you know, I might be right there with you. And I told him that, and I'd say that right now too. Like, you know, you've done it, you've walked it. I've been here for my 2nd year. I know there's a lot of change, but there's a lot of the same too, including my linebacker room. So I'm excited to just get out there. I do feel comfortable, I feel confident, and I feel ready to roll.
You alluded to this a little bit in the last 2 minutes about how you're confident, you're calm, all those things, but what feels different in particular about heading into this training camp?
I think the first and obvious answer is just, I've been here. You know, I know where things are. They're renovating everything, so they're changing it on me as much as they can. But at the same time, you have a routine. I have a routine in Atlanta, and I think having a routine is very important. I had a routine in New Orleans, but like you said, I wasn't sure what my role was going to be, and so it was a constant fight for that. And I still have that mindset. It's a constant fight. You know, there's always someone out there that wants to take your job, and there's some other really good athletes with some really great testing numbers out there. So my job right now is just go out, do the very best I can. But I think the fact that I have a routine, I have a rhythm here, my family's set here. I'm not moving my family into a new house in the middle of training camp. I think that just brings a sense of calm, and I'm ready to roll.
Lindstrom was talking about how there's kind of an excitement, a buzz. We didn't get to feel that a ton because we're not close to you guys this morning, but tell me about that heading into this camp. New head coach, a lot of changes like you mentioned. What do you feel from the guys around you?
Excitement, buzz. I just think, you know, we had same beliefs and excitements maybe last year, and you do every year because the team you're on, you're set to make everything you possibly can work, right? You're going to make it work. That's the mindset you have. That's how we got here. Roz brought a very genuine excitement and passion and emotion to this, and I'm really excited to partner with him and roll with that, and I think everybody feels that. I think everybody's excited for that, and everybody still has a little bit of the taste that's been here, still has a little bit of that taste from last year in our mouth, and we're excited to go capitalize on that.
What's the day like? When do y'all have your first meeting, and when do y'all have to, is that like this afternoon or evening or after dinner, or y'all meet with the position coaches first, or kind of what's the rest of the day like?
I think first meeting is special teams in 1 hour at 2 o'clock. And then after that, we'll go through the laundry list of things, and then begin tomorrow morning with, I think, you know, we got lifts and meetings and whatnot. That's when we'll really get in with our position groups. But today, I know we got special teams, got to knock that out, and then I think there's some, you know, chores to do with the team meetings that we got to get out, and then we'll get rolling.
I want to say Ryan's scheme last year in New Orleans, and that mug look up front was really popular.
Mm-hmm.
Is there still like a role for that here, do you feel like?
You know, I think it's hard to find a third down team that won't at least incorporate that into a few game plans a year. And it makes it so hard on the offensive line. If you can still get out in coverage, which it's easy to in that scenario, depending, especially on how you shift the back end, it makes it hard on the O-line and the quarterback and the protection. And I think it's one of the ways when you get into a true 3rd and long that you can start dictating what can be called and what can't be called. And that's hard on defense to do because you got some really talented players and some really amazing offensive minds, Andy Reid and company over there, dialing things up. So if you can start taking a couple things out of the playbook and even put a sense of, you know, angst on them, I think that's what that double mug look does, whether you're in the A gaps, the B gaps, on the edge, you can put guys all over. I think that's when, the New Orleans defense, third down was at its best, was maybe when you had 3 guys back and 8 guys up. Who's coming, who's not, and how we're going to get the ball out fast. So, yeah.
What's it been like having a new DC for the first time? You switched teams and kept the same one even.
I know. It's been awesome. I said this to Jimmy and everybody when they're first coming in. I'm just really excited to see how another coaching tree skins the cat. It's kind of how I've heard it worded before, but you've got the same problems throughout the NFL. It's a copycat league, but how do different minds tackle an issue, and what issues are most prevalent on their mind when game planning? So I've gotten to see a little bit of it. Obviously, a lot of our work so far in OTAs has been getting ourselves right, knowing our playbook, but I'm really excited to see how they continue to show me how they like to attack different issues that the offense pose.
Anything else? All right.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.